Chapter 6, To the Kanelan Palace. Miroe Pasap. 2 days had gone by since I finally made it through the Kanelan gates, and I was yet to find a way to meet the Emperor. I had nothing to pay for food, and because of that, I had to force my entry through the kitchen doors of small diners and inns. The scar on my face, an ugly diagonal line that cut across my right eye toward the other side of my face, ending on the left side of my lips, freaked everyone I met. It was raw, and although the blood had dried, it was just as menacing to look at. But it gave me an ominous glare, too. Men who seemed interested in my horse did a double take every time their eyes fell upon my scar. A huge stable was in front of me, and I eased my way inside. This would be a good place to spend the night and feed my horse. The pungency of decayed manure wafted through my nostrils as I made my way inside. Some horses, all without a saddle, were ready for the night. After feeding my bay, I plopped down and remained still. When Goemi and I were still traveling the world, we spent most days lying on the ground talking about the next places we would go to. Well, she did most of the talking. The condition of our travels before was never better than the one I have now, but her presence made everything bearable. My sister was my world, and I couldn't help but wonder how she was faring now. The company she was with seemed to have suited her. With me, there had been no conversations. With Nia and the other children, Goemi was back to how she was before, when we were still little kids playing inside Grandma's house. Did she really hate me? Would the kindness of her heart win over her mind for her to eventually forgive her twin? A loud clang interrupted my thoughts. A tin can fell from the door frame. It was something of a habit, a personal alarm system whenever I slept in an unfamiliar place. I would awaken and give myself enough time to find my way out. "What the?" a bearded, stocky man said. He looked around and found the new horse. Then his eyes found me. I stood up slowly. "Master," I said. "Sir." "Who are you?" he said. "I am a traveler," I said. "A weary one. I just needed a place for the night. The palace is very strict nowadays. Soldiers have been patrolling along every street since the last Akene wine festival," he said slowly. "Do you know what this means?" I shook my head. My heart started to pump wildly inside my chest. I could ask for help easily and get you thrown in the dungeons. Suddenly, I felt queasy. "Please, I only need a place for the night. I am not a bandit," I repeated. "Yeah, you're not," he said mockingly. "Where did you get that horse?" I glanced at the horse sideways. It was probably too good a breed for someone who looked like me. Its black mane shone even in the darkness. "It's a gift from my father," I said, lying. The bearded man moved towards the horse and stroked the horse's mane. There, good bay," he whispered. "Don't touch my horse," I said. The man chuckled. "Your horse? Who owns this stable? And who was the one who trespassed it?" he asked, daring me to speak. "The horse is mine," I said in a low voice. "Stay for the night, but in the morning, I better find you gone," he said, turning away from me. "But leave the horse." A burst of anger started inside my chest, and I felt the blood rising in me all over. "I will leave now," I said sternly. "I'm sorry to bother you." I walked towards the horse and took the reins. I pulled at the horse, but the man blocked the way. "Do you think you can leave with the horse?" he said. "My horse?" His eyes crinkled on both sides. "How could you be so mean?" I hissed. "I am a foreigner here. I am seeking a place to stay, and your hospitality called for stealing my horse? As a fair trade for you trespassing and not handing you over to the Emperor's soldiers," he insisted. Dismissing his words, in one swift movement, I mounted myself and kicked at the horse's arse, crashing against the landlord, who now toppled backward while I raced towards the exit. "Help!" he shouted. "A thief!" The night sky, dark as it usually is, suddenly lit up. I could see every moving person around me. Soldiers at the end of the street were talking under the dim street lamp. They looked at me, so I headed in the other direction and kicked at the horse with all my strength. "Help, please!" the bearded man kept on wailing. The soldiers took a few seconds before they realized what was happening and came to the wrong conclusion. "Halt!" one of them shouted at me. "Stop!" I dismissed his command and kept kicking the horse. The soldiers were now running after me, but they were no match for my horse. I turned a corner and trotted off. On the far end, soldiers appeared and blocked my way. I pulled at the reins and turned left, but there was nowhere to go. I headed back, but before I could push the horse forward, more soldiers appeared, blocking the other way. And suddenly, there was nothing left to do but stop and wait for the soldiers to take me. Or I could kill them with my power. But was this the perfect opportunity to reveal my power? If it was, would the Emperor summon me to the Kanelan Palace?